All right. Good evening. Good evening. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast or our podcast week in review. As always, what we're going to do is put up our intro video and we'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back trying to get my earphones on. Hey, this is the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, and this is our weekly podcast or podcast week in review. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey 8 years ago, and we're coming up on 9 years. 8 years ago, they had the idea of having Community Solidarity Day. and their focus was on just ordinary people speaking truth to power. They didn't have to be professionals, pastors, politicians, or preachers, just ordinary people with some facts, a bullhorn or a megaphone. And here we are nearly 9 years later, still making a difference. Today, what do I have on? I have on my black hat today. I've got my brown rimmed glasses. I've got a shirt, kind of a poke at Joe Biden, and it says, "Buy a man, eat fish, he day, teach men to a lifetime." Joe Biden. If you ever heard the president speak, you should already know. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. And this is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. Now, usually you'd either see Haley, Jody, or Jalen, but it's almost like they got the red, black, and green flu today. They didn't come in, but we're going to definitely make sure that we have a dynamite podcast. We've got a couple of special guests. I'm not going to give it out now, but a couple of special guests today that I know you're going to enjoy. So listen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN Week in Review. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant, inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, or our weekend review, where we come to you every week and we talk about the things that we've done last week. There were a lot of community events happening last week. Some of the things that we're working on right now, which is Juneteenth, it's next month. I remember when we were talking about this in January, right after Kwanzaa, and we were thinking that, hey, we got some time to lay up, put our feet up, and here it is, May. Who would have thought? Hey, listen, what we're going to do right now, as always with CSRN, we read our mission statement, and our mission statement is what makes us who we are. Way back in 2014, we got together before we even had a mission statement, and we thought we got to do something or say something that defines who we are, because sometimes if you don't have a mission statement, somebody from outside of our community, they'll come in and have one for you. So this is the Community Solidarity Response Network mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help to foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice equally applied to all, regardless of creed, class, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. And every week, before we come back with our guests, every week, myself, Jody, or Haley will go over our what we call our Black Lives Matter moment. We've been doing this since 2014, and as a group, and there's always something that really sticks out that we've done. And one of the things that really stick out to me is, I think it was 2017, we had what we call our Black Lives Matter Scholarship Fund. And what we did was we realized that just because young people are in college, that doesn't mean that they got it made, all right? It doesn't mean that they don't need our support. So what we wanted to do is have a somewhat like a contest of students from University of Toledo, Bowling Green, and also some of the high schools, Owens included, and also some of the high schools write an essay on what does Black Lives Matter mean to them. So we got all of the all those that wrote the essays, and we found 3 people. First prize was $1,000. Second prize was $500. Third prize was $250, and it was difficult getting $1,750. But hey, we managed one way or another to make that happen, and it was awesome to be able to give back to these young people that were doing the right thing. Sometimes we might focus on some of the challenging things that are happening in the community. However, there are young people that are really making a difference. And that is my Black Lives Matter moment. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break. I know you're saying, why are we taking so many short breaks? Because we don't have Jody here to talk and talk and talk. So we're going to take a short break. We'll come back with our special guest today. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekend review. As always, whenever we have a special guest, we always ask them who they are, what are they wearing, and what are we talking about today? So, who are you? What do you got on? All right, and what are we talking about today?
Well, I started to come out with my Black Lives, but I didn't know.
Okay.
So I just casually put something on.
Yes, sir.
My name is Leslie Robinson. I am a member of Parents of Murdered Children.
Okay.
And I've just, been there, done that, and going to continue to do that because it makes a difference in people's lives.
All right. Well, I think that you and I've known each other for
years.
All right. You didn't have to say years. I'm going to say a couple of months now. All right. All right. Man. All right. We're going to interview. You said earlier, you're the old school. All right. Been there, done that. And now we're going to bring on the new school. All right. Later on, right after the break. All right. Parents of murdered children. What was it that got you involved, and what is it that kept you involved? Because sometimes, Les, people start out in a month or so, they're done. So what was it that got you involved, and what are some of the things that's keeping you involved today?
2005, my only child, my son, was murdered trying to break up an argument. He had gone over to his best friend's house who had to celebrate him coming home from Iraq. And so they were celebrating, and two convicted felons, I won't mention names, were out on parole and showed up there and started picking on one of his friends. My son was one that peace loving, made people laugh wherever he was, tried to stop an argument that was going on. And when he thought he had stopped it, he walked away, got on the phone by the curb to speak to his girlfriend. And that's when one of the guys, the murderer, walked down and shot him through the heart. I was 53 when all this happened. I had a wonderful career in television. I had been in television at that point for 30 years almost. Telling on myself age-wise, but I could no longer do the job. I had gone to therapy. I had psychiatrists. Nothing seemed to help. And someone told me, you know, there's this organization called Parents of Murdered Children.
Let me grab this. Set that right there. All right. Yes. All right. I like. What is this in my ear? All right. All right. So somebody told you about an organization
called Parents of Murdered Children, and to give it a try. And I went there, and after that first meeting, I said, "This is not working for me." I mean, I was the second Black person there, and everyone else in the room, and I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but I just knew that they don't understand what I'm going through. And at the time, the chapter leader was a guy named Russell Simmons, older man. And I even told him, I said, you know, Black on Black crime is treated differently in our system. And I just knew he was going to say, not necessarily, but he said, I totally agree with you 100%.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, totally different.
All right, that's different.
Totally different. And going back and forth, doing things with him, trying to make a difference, we started just working well together. We would go to prisons and speak on what, you know, murder does to not just a person, an entire family and everything. We would go to schools and speak. And he had told me at that point that I probably need to even look into something different. He says, you're 100% right that it's treated differently. What can you come up with? I said, you know, maybe I'll start an organization called Equal Justice for All.
Wow.
And we did that for a year, and I had plenty of support. And it kind of like fell through the wayside. I couldn't get people to follow up with me.
Yeah.
But I continued. I became chapter leader of Parents of Murdered Children back then. And I think it made a huge difference. But when I stopped in my leadership and passed it on to someone else, the infighting started. And the arguments started. And I said, okay, now this is not helping me anymore.
Right.
And I walked away, and shortly after I walked away, it folded. And the next guest will probably explain more of what's going on now, but I was glad to see her.
That was great.
Bring things back together again, because it's an organization that is truly needed, and it's needed now more than ever with what's going on with our young folks killing each other, you know. But I'm behind her 100%. Like I said, I was glad to see it come back to life.
I got a couple of questions for you. You talked about your son. You never mentioned his name. Do you mind sharing that?
And I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
We all called him Donnie.
Donnie.
Yeah, but his name was Dionys Wardell Robinson.
Okay, Dionys Wardell. Okay. 60 years ago, I don't know what it was about my mom and dad that looked at me and said, yes, Washington. All right. I'm like, come on, what were y'all doing? I mean, what about Dionys? That would have, at least I would have got the girls in high school. All right. With a name like Washington, you're either going to have to learn how to fight or run. So if they wanted to fight me, they had to catch me. So, be honest, how did that come about? That's a beautiful name.
Well,
all right. You got to be good looking, all right, to have a name like Dionys. All right.
Believe me, he worked it too.
All right. Yes. Man.
The reason we came up with that name is my grandfather, who lived down south,
all right,
who also dealt with the Ku Klux Klan, hiding and everything else. His name was Dionys.
Oh man.
And we just
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just having some flashbacks of grade school, and they're calling off the, they used to, when they call off attendance, and they'll call Steve here, Mike here, Dionys, all right, here. Then they get to my name, and everybody's like, oh, what's your mom's name? George? Okay, all right. Man, so maybe I need to call somebody. All right. So, man, so was it your grandfather?
It was my grandfather that was named Dionys.
All right. So the middle name, all right,
Wardell was.
Man, you cannot lose if Dionys don't get you, Wardell. Man.
Wardell was my wife's father's name.
Okay.
So we had a mixture.
Oh wow.
So, but believe me, Donnie worked that name.
Yeah.
Dionys. Believe me, all his buddies knew him as Donnie, but the girls knew him as Dionys.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
But he was 20 years old when he passed. He was special to me.
Yes, sir.
He was strictly what you would call a daddy's boy.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. When you joined or formed the Parents of Murdered Children here in Toledo, what were some of the benefits? And I think we're going to talk to our next guest about this too. She's going to give us kind of an updated version. All right. What do you think are some of the benefits of us coming together and talking about something that may be a bit taboo, in our community?
You have to talk to someone that has experienced what you're experienced to really get a handle on what your life's going to be. I always called it, even back then, to learn what your new normal is going to be.
Man.
Because it's going to be a complete change.
Yeah.
But when you talk to someone across the table who, and it was a pretty big organization back then too, across the table that has experienced the same thing. I mean, you take, for instance, the man that started the local chapter here in Toledo, Russ Simpson.
Yeah.
His 4-year-old daughter was strangled, and his 19-year-old son was murdered at Kroger's store back in the day when Kroger's was in Swangfield.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, but to sit there and listen to someone else, and I'll tell you too. I mean, it's not going to be smiles and fun and happy and having a good time. You kick tables. You disagreed with people.
Yeah.
This was the place to come and get pissed off, and you were able to do it, and it made a difference.
Yeah.
You felt a little lighter when you left that meeting.
I can just imagine, because you're able to talk about some of the things with people that understand. All right. The best I can do is say, man, that's messed up. All right. That's the best I can do. All right. But being able to talk about this and process it with people that know. And yes, it's a great chance we're going to be kicking tables. Yes, we are going to be arguing over what this means and what that means to you that might not mean the same thing to me. But I'm positive, like you said, after processing it all and talking it out, you feel a lot lighter.
You do.
and I advise that for anyone that's struggling with trauma, to find a group of people that are like-minded, because every doesn't mean that this is the right group, but find someone to talk to about, whatever you're going through, because if we don't, the type of work that I'm in is mental health and substance abuse. Once we start bottling up all those thoughts, it's going to come out, but it may come out in the worst way at the worst time, and with people that you love, right? All right. So at one point, I think we talked about your significant other.
Right.
All right. What effect does that have on? I'm just asking you. All right. I'm asking you because what effect does that have on a relationship?
You do not ask the questions, don't you?
Yeah.
It's different.
Right. And I ask because I love you. I know you. And this may be the only time that someone that's watching this will be able to hear real information, not something that we wrote down and we said, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's what we're not going to talk about. But what type of stress or what type of changes does that make with a relationship?
It varies. It was difficult at the time. I mean, I really didn't even want to speak to her when it happened. I mean, I didn't want to speak to anyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've learned with time, and we grieve. We still grieve to this day, but we grieve differently. And I have to learn to accept the way she grieves, and she has to learn to accept the way I grieve. No one grieves the same. I spend more time at the cemetery to this day. He was murdered in 2005. She will go out there on December 2nd. That's his birthday.
Okay.
She doesn't go to the cemetery that month. We put a blanket on his grave. That's when she will go to the cemetery. Or if she goes, we're not going together. We'll go our separate ways.
All right.
on that. But I thank God for her, because she's the one that got me into Parents Murder Children. She was the one that said, there's a group that maybe you need, because she saw that everything else was failing. I was losing it. Our therapy, psychiatrists, none of that was working. I was just getting angrier and angrier by the day. And I didn't think Parents of Murdered Children was going to help, but it made the difference when I sit there, and believe me, I was kicking some tables, but it showed me how to deal with this issue.
All right. Before we're going to take a short break and come back. Well, I should be asking. I was going to say, can someone contact you and say, "Hey, listen, I saw the guy on your show." Should they contact you, or should I save that question for our next guest?
Well, I'm not going to turn anyone away that needs to talk to me about suffering with a murder in the family. So yeah, they can contact me. I'll give you my cell phone number.
Right. And family, if you want, you can put it in the chat, or if you're watching this from our page, you can just inbox us and just say, "Hey, listen, that guy Les that was on, how do I reach him?" That way we don't put his phone number, right on the screen. That way Rent-A-Center won't come back and get their stuff. All right. I know they be watching me too. All right. I see that truck sitting outside my house. Y'all ain't get my VCR. I done paid for that 6 times. All right. So, hey, listen, I want to thank you for joining us today. And we're going to come take a short break, and we're going to come back. We're still talking about parents of murdered children right here in Toledo. Family, this is an awesome experience for us. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come right back. This is the CSRN Week in Review. We'll be right back.
If you can ride a bike without falling, then you're good to go. Bike Rides Matter. It's a community bike group. We get together for fun, fitness, and fellowship. We ride weekly. Right now, we got a Tuesday ride where we ride on the UT Trail. We do Saturday right here at Uptown Green. That's our glow roll Saturday night. It was something I was already doing with my daughter, just riding bikes, and we just decided it would be cool to add the community, because we were just finding ways to make fun given the situation. Being that everything was closed down and options were limited, bike riding is one of those things you can do without any restrictions.
You get to make new friends and just like interact with people, especially during COVID. You still like have your mask on and stuff, but it's still good to like see people.
It's a cool way to stay fit. We talk while we riding, we got music while we riding. I've met quite a few new friends and new people. I made some real cool connections throughout the city. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of this pandemic. I know it's a lot of restrictions, but you can be creative and find new ways to have fun, one of which is this right here.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast or our podcast week in review. And we were talking to my brother, Les Robinson, parents of murdered children. And he had told me earlier that I'm the old school. I'm like, I wasn't going to cuss. I'm like, no joke. All right. I love this brother. I had started organizing with him. I think that we were a part of a group called PEX together. And this had to be maybe, 2006, 2007. I don't know if it was right before Obama was elected. And he was always a special brother. He meant what he said, says what he means. And you working with him, you'd have no idea what people have gone through just working with him. And hopefully soon he's going to let me drive that vet and fill it up full of gas. So I think I'm going to take it out and put $10 worth of gas in it. I'll put 92. I ain't splurging for the 93. But I love that brother, and I always will. Customary with CSRN, whenever we have a guest, we always ask a guest, who are you? What are you wearing, and what are we talking about today? So, man, as you see, no, it's not Les. It's not Jody either. All right, thank God. I hope Jody's not watching right now. He heard me say that. All right. So, who are you? What are you wearing, and what are we talking about today?
My name is Aviance Hill. I am wearing just a basic vest and a shirt, but most importantly, I'm wearing my son Isaac Carpenter's necklace he wore when he graduated from high school, and his photograph. My son Isaac was murdered July 2nd of 2022 last year, and I am the new chapter leader of the Northwest Ohio Parents of Murdered Children. So that's what I've done. One of the things I've done.
Okay, all right. Well, when she walked in, Les said that, hey, look, there's a new sheriff in town. Her name is Aviance. Avi what? Aviance. I said, is that a real name or is that like her Facebook name? Oh, he's like, come on, Brother Washington, just it's Aviance. Where did that name come from? All right, you the
I
first
hope
person.
my mom is listening so she can laugh at this.
All right,
Okay, so my mom was in labor with me.
all right.
I
Let me
was
poke
so,
the mic.
my mom was living with me. I was supposed to be born on New Year's Day.
Okay, all right.
So back then, I was born in '76. So back then, when babies were born breech, because I came out literally feet first, so I came out ASS backwards, literally.
Okay.
So my feet were hanging out.
Oh,
But back then, they try to basically go in and turn the
you,
babies
yeah.
manually.
Okay.
My mom was like, "Oh heck no!" So my feet kind of like hung out
Okay.
for a few days, and I was born. So when they tried to put my mom under to finally say, "Okay, enough of this,"
Right.
we're just gonna take the baby, we're
Right.
gonna turn you and everything, and she said no, so they gave her some gas to make her go to sleep. The last thing that she remembered when she was pushing me out, because I did come out vaginal.
Okay.
But the last thing she remembered was this commercial, and the commercial was an Aviance night must commercial, like fry in a pan.
I could bring home the bacon.
That was the last commercial she saw. So thank God for that commercial.
Oh
I'm glad it
man,
wasn't
I just
Massengill.
dated myself.
Yeah,
all
there
right,
you go.
I
See?
got it less. It's his fault. All right, it's his fault. Come up with that
So
old
that was the
school
last
stuff.
commercial when the nurse brought me in, and I was supposed to be, she thought I was a boy too.
Okay.
So when the nurse brought me in and said, congratulations, it's a girl. She's like, what? So she's like, what are you going to name her? And the first thing, everything that kept going to her head was that Aviance Night Must commercial, that jingle. So my name became Aviance. So yeah, it's my Facebook name. It's my name. It's me.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's me.
That's what's up.
me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All right. Les would have took all my money because I was going to bet him. All right. No, that can't be her name. All right.
But if my dad and my aunt are not watching, hopefully they're not, and they won't watch. My mom made up a lie because my dad's name is Avila, and my aunt's name is Francis. So she told them that she took half of his name and half of her name and made Aviance.
Okay, well, you know what?
That's not what happened.
Okay, we were talking about names earlier, and his name is Avila.
Avila.
Okay, can he fight?
No.
Okay, so all right, so
he shouldn't be anyway.
Avila, hey, look, we need to form a club.
He should not be fighting.
Okay.
Not at his age.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. That's what's up. All right, have two of us non-fighters, but all right. So we're talking about parents of murdered children, and thank you for coming here today and talk about this. We talked about we talked with Les and how he got involved. What was it that made you want to not only deal with your loss, but what was it that made you also want to help others get through? How did you come to that decision?
After I was told by our prosecutor that basically Isaac's murderer, which is also my grandson's father, would get off on the stand your ground law, and there was like basically they just told me nothing we can do. Too bad. Going about your business. Basically, I mean, not even a cheese tray, nothing. So I wanted to fight back. I've always been a fighter. I've never been the type of person that people said no, you can't. There's got to be. There's always a way. Somebody has the answer.
I love that.
Somebody has the answer. Somebody knows what's going on. So, and so I did some research on having somebody take a second look and how to advocate and how to support other people. Man. So I found parents of murdered children. So I sent an email and I said, hey, I think I want to help people in my position, in our position. And let's just go back a little bit. People get kind of a little scared or back off because they see it's called Parents of Murdered Children, the title, and they think that the only way I can be supported or be a part is if I have a child that was murdered or died by violence. No, it's for siblings, it's for friends, it's for neighbors. It's go through because grief is not just something that happens to just the person directly; it happens to everyone. We all see it. I mean, you're a friend of Les's friend, so you saw him go through it. So that grief was imparted onto you.
That's
and you
right.
wanted to support him. So
That's
part
right.
of Parents of Murdered Children, what we also do is we support and we teach others, professionals as well, how to deal with those going through grief and trauma. So we teach police officers how to deal with us in the courtrooms. Like right now, when I have to see my son's murder in the courtroom, I'm literally as close as you and I are.
Okay.
They don't try to do anything on a Zoom or anything to protect us or anything. Like victims' rights are like gone. So what I wanted to do with Parents of Murdered Children was make sure that you still have hope. You're
That's
not
right.
alone.
That's right.
And you have somebody fighting with you. So we offer advocacy. If you need to go to courtroom, you'll see me sitting right next to you or somebody else. We have some great people like Les that will sit with you in the courtrooms. We do parole block programs where at the meetings we will sign for people all over the country who needs to we want to keep in jail for they
Right.
strangle somebody or shot somebody or stab somebody violently. We want to keep them in jail. So we have a parole block program where we all say for instance somebody is on parole and you getting a few hundred signatures from your family.
Yeah.
Well, when you let us know with Parents of Murdered Children, you go from a few hundred to a few thousand, a million signatures to keep people that deserve to be behind bars. We now offer, I found out through our councilman at large, Nick Comives, that there was a mother who her son was murdered and she had to clean up her own child's murder scene at her home. She should never have done that. And he didn't give me her name for privacy reasons at all. But that is now something that the Northwest Ohio Parents of Murdered Children offer. If something happens, give us a call and we will look out for you. Our phone lines are always open. Like Les, we won't turn anybody away.
Now, that's something that watching television, you would think that if something tragic like that happened, that there's someone that automatically comes in.
It's not funded in our city. There's no monies for that because I do things. Not only do I do this, I wear a few hats. So I'm on a couple of committees through the city. I'm with the Human Relations Committee. I'm with the Stop the Violence Committee with the City of Toledo. So it's not funded. It's something that should be funded and needs to be funded, needs to be voted on, needs to be put forth in front of council and things like that. But it's not funded and it definitely needs to be funded. So reach out to your council members, reach out to your mayor, reach out to your representatives, reach out to my favorite and my friend Paula Hicks Hudson, our new senator, and let her know these things should be funded in our areas. People should not be doing this on their own. And even though I'll probably cry while cleaning up the murder scene, it doesn't mean that parent, that mother, that father, those siblings should not have had to done that themselves.
So this is the first I've heard of this, and we make a point of advocating for a lot of stuff to happen. I've never heard of this. I just always thought that it was just something that happened, that somebody else magically because it's out of. So what would that be called? So for instance, for everyone that's watching this podcast now and those that are going to stream it later, pay attention to this part, because some of us may not want to be involved when we have an actual protest. Some people may not want to get involved when we have a press release. All right. But there are other things that people can get involved in. So, Aviance, what is it called when there's a scene like that, but it needs to be clean? What is that called?
Oh, there's not really a name for it, but I call it just a blessing.
Okay.
I need a blessing done at my house. I need a blessing done in the living room or whatever. I know what they mean. We know what they mean.
Okay.
It's called a blessing. We're gonna bless them and we're gonna clean it up. We're just gonna do what we have to do to make sure that family doesn't have to. I mean, because some of the worst things you can do, I mean, for one, that mother have to do it herself, but that child has siblings. So they watch their mom do that. They watch their mom go through that trauma. Then of course, I'm sure there were some brothers and sisters who knelt down next to their mom, let me finish. Because I have other kids too. So to watch my babies, even my bonus kids, pick out a casket for their brother, pick out clothes, decide what, I mean, that was tough. Because I've always been the type of mom that I'm gonna fix it. It's in the stitches. And I've always been a person of service, even to my kids. So to watch them do this, and I'm helpless. I don't know how to deal with their trauma. I don't know how to deal with their pain. I don't know how to love them back. And I had to learn. I had to be taught how to love them back, because I know what it is to have a mother a mother lose a child violently. I don't know what it is to be a brother or a sister or a grandmother. So, like I said, this is for everybody, no matter what race, religion, creed, sexual orientation, what religion. We don't do any of that stuff. It's just a place for you to come and be loved on, be supported, be advocated for, or just to learn. Some people come just to learn. I want to see what this is like from another person's eyes, from a mother's eyes, a child's eyes. We do have the national child meetings are every second Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. at the Collingwood Arts Center. Thank you, Lexi Heyman Staples, for giving us that space every single Saturday.
Oh, that's awesome.
She does. She's at the Collingwood Arts. She's phenomenal.
I think we I think we met Lexi in what we do. We somehow we're at the Collingwood Arts, because that's our people.
That's our people.
That's our people. All right. And we think different, so we help different. For Dave, there's a brother named David Bush, and he leads the Interrupters.
He does.
And we've been talking back and forth about putting together this community response team. And for Dave, I would also like to add, I know I got to come to the meeting. Yeah. Okay. All right. But I want to add on that we need to be able to have the capacity to bless a family, because we want to show up and we want to make a show of support whenever there's a shooting that happens, to let the community know that there are community members that care and want to be there. However, we might want to add this part onto it if we're already showing up. All right. We already want to show up, Dave. So maybe there's some of us that may have a stomach for the cleanup, so I'm going to ask him. Well, I've already did, so I'll send this to Dave too.
Just tell him Aviance sent you.
Yeah. Aviance sent me, Dave. So you already know what that means, The next thing I wanted to ask you about this, I wanted to ask Les, so I'll ask him off the camera. What do you do for self-care?
I see a therapist.
Okay.
He's phenomenal. I pray a lot. I'm getting into meditation a little bit more than I used to, but also I'm better when I'm serving other people, when I'm healing other people. That's just who I've always been. That's my heart. That's who I've always gonna be. Like, that's my self-care. If I'm helping somebody else, if I'm having a meeting and there's one person there,
right,
I did my part. If I'm listening to someone over the phone, if I'm doing a Zoom meeting, because I can't, like tonight, tonight, every Tuesday, I have a support group for grief, because people think grief just only is when you do loss. Grief is, I broke up with my boyfriend, or my girlfriend broke up with me. Grief is I lost a job, or somebody's got a promotion. Grief is I got into a car accident. Grief comes in many different forms and shapes, and we see grief. Grief is, you look across the street and there's a lot of blight, across the street. Grief is looking on the news and seeing someone being beaten or killed or mass murdered. Those are all types of grief.
That's true. That's true.
So every Tuesday, I have a grief support group called Immeasurable Love. The I and the M is capitalized for Isaac's initials, Isaac Michael. And that's for all types of grief. We all just talk about whatever, whatever it is, whatever that loss is, we talk about that. So me being able to give back and let somebody get it out, heal, jump up and down, scream, kick stuff or whatever, this isn't fair, or so on and so forth or whatever. And having somebody being able to listen, because that's all I do. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a minister. I'm not anything like that. I'm a donkey. Literally, I'm a donkey. Like, I'm a vessel. I'm a donkey. Okay. The Lord speaks through me.
Hey, look, I just heard you say all the things that us therapists don't do. All right. heard you say all the things that us pastor people don't do. And I was going to ask you, okay, is this something that you do? I mean, when did you know that you had the capacity to listen, the capacity to be concerned? Was this always a gift with you, and it kind of just transitioned to right here?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been like my youngest son is awesomely autistic. So I've always had to have that listening ear, that patience, that willingness to serve or to see things through somebody else's eyes. So then before my platform was just autism, just to make sure that people
Right.
understood people with autism. It's still that too, but now it's transformed, and now I'm helping people deal with grief and let them know that they're not alone. Because believe me, you are never, ever going to be alone. As long as we have breath, as long as me and my members and my children, the board members have breath, you will not be alone. You don't have to do this. You don't have to take no for an answer. You don't do any of that stuff. You can come be loved on, come be supported, come be advocated. And if I don't have the answers, I know somebody's got the answers, but we're going to figure out the answers together. But you're not going to be alone.
Man, look, I know that pretty soon the library is going to start flicking the light on and off because they be on something like that. No, they don't. Hey, listen, my library, Celeste, Felix, no, you know you're wonderful. They lay out the red carpet for us. They let us use their Frederick Douglass print every week, so I ain't going to get on them like that. But they may be flicking the light on and off. I wanted to ask you this question regarding what you do. What are some of the misconceptions that people think about, caring about parents of murdered children? What are some of the oft-repeated, I don't want to say dumb stuff, but misunderstandings?
I think the main assuming that just because they don't have a child that's murdered, that they can't come or be supported or learn or advocate. They can't support or advocate or stand with us. That's one. The other thing is they think they're going to say the wrong thing. And I've got to tell you, 99% of the time, anybody that's suffered any type of loss, you are going to say the wrong thing. I even have said the wrong thing. I've said the wrong thing to my own kids. I've said the wrong thing to myself, at some point. But they think that it's just people there just crying their eyes out, and it's a sad, mundane thing, and we're just sitting there with tissues and just, cowering in corners. But we're not cowards at all. We're brave.
That's
and we're
right.
fighting back, and we're making sure, like, we all have to grieve our way. Les has to grieve his way. Aviance has to grieve her way. Everyone has to grieve their own personal way. So they think that they have to do it, by a book or, in this manner or something like that or whatever,
Right.
or a standard, SOP type way. And it's not. It's not. You come in, if you're angry that day, you can be angry. If you're angry for 6 months, you can be angry for 6 months. If you are happy for 6 months, if, hearing me talk or hearing somebody else talk gets on your nerves, you are more than welcome to excuse yourself. You only need one meeting. Maybe you only
That's
need
right.
2 meetings. Maybe you need one of my other friends, or, I have other friends who have group support groups too. Maybe my 2 groups aren't for you, but I can put you in the
I like
direction
that.
of some other one, because we're
like
here
that.
to support as much as we possibly can in our community. If you know someone that's going through some type of loss, whomever it is, let me know. I'll send them a card. I have door hangers that I'll put on your door. They're really nice and everything. And we'll take care of it. We'll support you. You won't be alone. And I've supported people even before we got the parents
Wow.
of murdered children. So, just know that you may not remember the first time you meet me, or if I
Yeah.
can approach you or whatever, but somewhere down the line, that voice inside is going to say, hey, I need that one little girl. I need to meet her, or that one woman, or those one children. I need to meet them, or I need to talk to them. And it may not be me. It may be Les that you need to talk to. It may be somebody else that you talk to, but somebody within our membership and our group, or maybe one of my own children that you
Wow.
need to talk to, maybe somebody else, but there's somebody that will be there. You don't go into that cold dead night. And I heard once before, and I say it to myself, I say it to my kids, that do not let the legacy of someone's loss destroy you. And I'm not going to let it destroy me. I'm not going to let it destroy my children. And if I can help it, I'm not going to let this destroy any of you either.
Man, Wow. I don't know how to ask this next question, but I'm gonna ask it. All right. What about one thing that I've witnessed? I'm part of the faith community, so I see how we get down, the activist community, and sometimes we think that getting help, and when I say we, just because I'm part of the group, all right, sometimes we think that getting help is a sign of weakness. Have you ever heard that? Well, only weak people get help,
Yeah.
and
I've heard it a lot. I hear it a lot. I get that a lot, and especially in the Black community. We think therapists are and psychiatrists are, that's cliche, and we don't need that. We can do
Yeah.
it on our own.
Right.
But unfortunately, society has taught us that, and it's been basically we've been indoctrinated to believe that we don't need help, that we are strong, but we do. We definitely do. Grief is not a feeling; it's an emotion. There's a difference between feelings and emotion. And grief is one of those things, one of those emotions that if it is not heard, if it's not dealt with, it will snowball and manifest. And sometimes it can snowball and manifest into positive stuff like what you see me doing all over the city,
Right.
or it can manifest in something negative into where there's continued murders, there's continued anger, or there's children being raised in this painful situation because hurt people and heal people. So, and if you're hurt about something that's going on, you're going to continue, it's going to keep going for generations. And we need to stop and break those generational curses as fast as we possibly can. So if you need help, don't think that you are not good enough or you're strong. We go with the strength that God gives us, or whomever you worship, whatever your deity is. So his strength and my
That's
strength is
awesome.
totally different or whatever.
Man.
When we are given, when they say God will not put more on you than you can handle,
Yeah.
that's because he already knew what you could handle. He
right.
equipped you with it before he even knew what was going to happen. He knew my son was going to be murdered, so he equipped me with the strength I needed to have to keep this going. So don't think that oh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Go with the strength that God gave you, and then when you need some more strength, give us a call. We'll give you some more strength. You need a smile, and we'll give you a smile. We'll tell you a joke, or we'll just sit next to you and let you cry. I've done that several times. I'll just sit right next to you and just let you cry because I get it. I cry. I still cry. I cry every day.
Look, I could have easily just said, hey, look, Aviance, I'm going to just sit to the side and you just go for what you know. This is awesome. And I don't know if this is something that you do to post a conversation or to post your own monologue online, because people are going through things, but sometimes we think that we're terminally unique, meaning that nobody else is going through what I'm going through. So we suffer in silence. I love to see, well, I'm not putting any more on you, but just to have you talk about what you're talking about, because some of us won't go get help. But if we see somebody else doing it, oh, you mean you can get help? And you present well. So like, hey.
I was nervous. I was praying. I was like, send me y'all happy thoughts, positive thoughts, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, look, it also, I'm going to call her out because one of our traditions is that for those who are sight impaired or really sight impaired, we introduce ourselves and we say what we're wearing. And she said, yeah, I'm just wearing a vest. That ain't just no vest.
It's a vest.
How does that just how is that just the vest? But okay, all right.
I'm like, extra.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, come on, that's it. All right, yeah, okay, all right. I wanted to ask you about, and we're coming up on the 7:00 hour, and hopefully we're gonna have Jody Summers call in from his taxable. He normally is the co-host, but he's going to call in and give our community shout outs and solutions, because there are a lot of things that we participate in weekly, and he comes on and processes all of that. I wanted to ask about your children, because you said that, hey, listen, people can even talk to your children. How are your children involved in this journey, and how are they able to process all of this?
They're processing it and managing it the best way they can. Because when people ask me how I am, we all say the same thing. I'm doing my best because I can only do what's best, my best version of Aviance. So they're doing their best. They support me in everything I'm doing.
That's awesome.
They really have been. My kids have been, all of them have been phenomenal. My daughter going through this has been a rock. She's been just amazing. Some of the things, I mean, she's been going through, having to deal with, knowing that her baby daddy basically murdered her brother has just been crazy. I mean, the things she's been going through and things we're going through now, trying to get custody and all this stuff going on. But they also, there's a junior chapter of Parents of Murder. So my children and other children who've had loss are on that board.
That's awesome.
Anyone from, young people, like I said, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know there's one of our members whose grandchild was being held while her father was murdered and had blood all over her when her father was shot in the head. That's something that, of course, they need help. This baby's going to have trauma forever.
Yeah.
But she needs to know that this trauma, it can manifest in something else. She can help somebody else. She can grow through this.
Wow.
She can come through this. So my children are those type advocates too. They, what do you want to talk about? Like last night, my nephew came over because he's been going through a lot, because again, this does not just affect just us. It affects everybody. So my nephew came over and my son went to go stay with him. He's like, whatever you need. My other son, Caleb, he's taken to photography, but he's taking pictures of things that have like trauma, but also taking them in a way that they're beautiful.
That's right.
That type thing.
That's right.
So he's so all of my kids, they all have been the only one we're working on, and it's tough. So if anybody out there can help me with that, is my youngest. He's, like I said, he's awesomely autistic. It's very tough to find therapists who can help those with autism, but also reach them when they go through trauma. This is new. This is new territory. I guess I'm paving the way, or whatever with this, but that's what I'm working on, how to get people with special needs, those quiet ones, those unseen special needs, the support and the advocacy that they need. But my kids, they're available by phone too. If you need to talk to them, they're available by email. One of my sons, they're on Xbox and PlayStation. There have been people that have reached out to them on their PlayStation, like, hey, I heard about your brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they've talked to people,
Hey, that's the way people communicate now, via PlayStation.
Kids, my kids
and
like,
Xbox.
You should do a TikTok, Mom, and you would just talk to people and let them know. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
I know, but the same way some of us older people, when MySpace came out, a lot of us older people were like, I'll never do that. I'm just used to calling people on that flip phone. And then when Facebook came out, we were like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing Twitter. But the landscape is changing. And the way people communicate, the same way that we're doing a podcast rather than passing out flyers, it does change. And just because some people might view those short videos on TikTok and say, well, I wouldn't want to be on that. Well, there's many things that you can do on TikTok, and we don't have to do I'm not doing the dance. We don't have to do the dance, Aviance, but there's just so many people on that platform. And there are also many people on that platform that also are getting help, because the people that use that platform, because that's where people are going.
Yeah, there are some therapists I've seen on TikTok.
The older people, the young people, my son said, hey, look, once you guys got on Facebook, we left. All right, we went to Instagram. And then you guys followed us, damn it. Y'all followed us to Instagram. So we left. Now we're on TikTok. All right. Yeah. So, they went from that to Snapchat to TikTok. So it's always going to move where the people are. And this just a sidebar. This is why a lot of our houses of faith are failing. All right. And I'm part of the faith business. And most times it's a competitive sport. And people are starting to feel that, all right? And I talk with you guys, so I know where the bodies are buried, so I know what I'm talking about. And we lose people by still operating in antiquated ways that may have been popular in the 70s or in the early 80s, but it's changed now. People need new ways to get their information. They may not need to sit down, shut up, and listen at a building. Hey, if we're counting on that, the only thing what we're doing, my pastor friends, is we're having the same old people showing up every week, and us old people get together and judge everybody that's not there. All right. That's how we get down. It's got to change. And we know as faith leaders, we know that we have to change. And we know how to change. However, a lot of us are set in our ways, and always tell them that one day the people are going to find out, or really our youth are going to find out what we knew and when we knew it. And they're going to load us in pickup trucks and drag us through the city because we could have helped. But we keep using this old method that our young people and sometimes are 35 and up are done with that. All right. So things have to change in us as faith people. Hey, we're because we refuse to change. We still want people to sit down, shut up, and listen for 2.5 hours. And look, after half an hour, I'm out.
You lose them.
I'm out. Or I almost lost myself just talking right there. So things have to change. Man, Aviance, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
How can people, is there a website? None of the tech team out there, I guess the best the tech team did was to put your name up there, but
They spelled it right too. Yay,
all right,
tech team.
all right, yeah. Don't give them, don't gas them up. All right, they come right back to do something stupid. All right, man, I guess I'm gonna lose them all after saying that.
I ain't saying that.
Yeah, well, I guess Les has his, he has that thing. So you're that tech team, whenever it goes wrong, it's usually Les. All right. He's got broad shoulders. All right. So is there a website? Is there Facebook?
There's a Facebook page. It's Northwest Ohio Parents of Murdered Children on Facebook. I'm still working on that because I'm trying to get the ins and outs of that. It's a private page because some people do want their information private. So you do have to request to be a part of the
all right
page.
And that's good because it's something serious. All right. It's nothing that I need to just hop on and just talk about stuff that I don't know. So if it is a private page, CSRN we've got a public page. We started out with a private page because we just wanted everyone to know what this is. And if you come on our page with some madness, you know what we're going to do.
You out, right?
Right. We kick you out.
A Facebook page.
Right.
There's a Facebook group.
All right.
I'm working on that. There's a phone number. Our phone number is 567
all right
215-0045. We meet every second Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. at the Collingwood Arts Center. Thank you again, Lexi, and the Collingwood Arts Center staff. That's what we have currently. There's more things to come. There'll be a newsletter coming out soon. There's gonna be all kind of
this is awesome.
This is new for me. We just started in February, so
hey, all right, hey, you're a veteran, all right. You'd have made it more than 2 months. Oh, you're a veteran, all right. Hey, don't you say you no longer new after the second week? Hey, you locked it on in. Would you be willing to come back, and if there's some events that you want to share and talk about, we would love to have you back.
Absolutely. The only event I can think of right now, because I'm also part of the Sisters for Unity. We're other mothers who've had our children children murdered, and another mother who she just stands in the gap for us and supports us. Thank you. But Sisters for Unity, we're having actually right here, beginning where the library is.
That's awesome.
And we're going to start at the corner of Door and Lawrence over there. We're going to have a march on July 15th. From 12 to 4. And the march is called Communities Against Gun Violence. We're just going to march around here and have a good old time.
Hey, listen, come back. Somehow I've got you. I don't know.
I'll give you my card.
Give me your card because this is something that we would definitely want to promote, to have people to be involved, because this is something that's part of our community. It's still happening and we want to promote it.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
All right. Hey, listen, family, this is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. We're coming back with Jody Summers, Child of the System, Spoken Truth. We'll be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. This program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3, BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So this showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
And shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekend review. I want to thank Aviance and Les from Parents of Murdered Children of coming in today and not only talking about how grief affects them, but also talking about how they took that and were able to bottle it to help others get through. So Aviance Hill, Les Robinson, look up Parents of Murdered Children, or the Northwest Ohio chapter, Parents of Murdered Children. Look it up on Facebook. You can also give her a call, 567-215-0045 or nwopomc@gmail.com. And they meet I think they meet at the Collingwood Arts Center. All right. They meet at the Collingwood Arts Center. Yeah. And hey, the monthly meetings. All right. Every second Saturday at 1 p.m., Collingwood Arts. This is the National Organization of Parents of Murdered Children Incorporated. Listen, family, support. And also they have something coming up on July 15th where it's going to be, I can't remember, what does she call it? I think it's Communities Against Gun Violence. Look how good my memory is. All right. It's going to be right here at my branch library, Dorn Lawrence. We're going to march, come and network and make a difference. Right. All right. Awesome. And yeah, we're going to have some of our elected officials. So if just come on out. All right. I ain't going to say nothing about them, but because we hold something else. Hey, listen, we're going to put Jody in the chat right now. Let's bring him on in. All right, Jody. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Been a while since I've been on the screen like this.
I know.
Back up a little bit.
Well, at least where you are now, we don't have background noises of your other staff in the same room. So that's what's up. Hey, listen, for everybody, it's about 7:18. So we're going to try to squeeze all of this in within maybe 10 or 12 minutes or so. Okay, so who are you? What are you wearing? And what are we talking about?
All right, what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth. I am the treasurer of this wonderful organization whose show I have missed because, sometimes I can't get off. I had a good couple months run, being in studio live, but, sometimes I got to be on the clock, do the taxable thing. So my off taxable thing doesn't make Uncle Sam upset. But that's kind of me in a nutshell. Guy that you normally see on the show that's covered in tattoos and crystals. You don't see the crystals right now, they got the shirts, stones and bones and all that stuff from being free. 8 years ago, I decided I wanted to write a book. I didn't want to just be an open mic, show up person and use it as a hobby. I turned it into a whole lifestyle. And now I got books in libraries, artwork in museums. I'm board member of several boards, which are all activating because it's summertime. So June looks like an event of like 30 things.
That's right.
Back. But it's awesome though. I love it. I get to inspire people all over the world. I've had people come up and tell me that they wrote books because of me, that they do open mics because of me. I'm that guy that's in the corner taking pictures until I get on stage and take your breath away.
All right. Hey, listen, last week we talked about some of the community shout outs and concerns and some of the things that we've been involved with last week or last weekend. And what are some of the things that you see that's coming up that we need to pay attention to?
Well, last week I had a wonderful weekend. I had a doubleheader on Saturday where I went to the 4th annual Gateway Gala, which is held by Kachise Price.
Yep.
I got it wrong. It's on my reels right now, but I went there and, once you get to a certain level in life and you say, hey, I want to help people, you do that. It's not like, oh, I'm going to like a post or I'm going to ask and come and see if I get a discount. No, $75, go and donate. It's actually for foster kids. Because as anybody knows, my name being child of the system, that is not an acronym, that is not to sell tickets, that is the life that I have lived.
Right.
So at this point in time, as I actually sat next to the table who I didn't even know was one of the girls speaking, named Beautiful, who was one of their, I guess, achievements or graduates or something like that. And At the end, I was able to give her, I give people crystals and stones and stuff as a success story, not necessarily of the system. I ain't gonna say because of the system,
Yeah.
but as a success story of one of the very few statistics that do what I do. I could be locked up. I could have multiple babies by different people. I could be doing a list of other things, but I create art somehow. So that was a wonderful experience. It was held at the Glass Pavilion, and it was nice. It had a good turnout. Again, if you look at my reels, you can see some of the people that were there. I don't do the selfie thing anymore. For years and years, I've done this where it's like, hey, you at this place. I know you. Click. And it's been beautiful. My whole history, like I go through people's birthdays and there's that stuff, but now I want you to see what I see from the other side of the camera. So people's faces are gonna be blurry. It's not for social media. It's for engagement to say, I could possibly do that. There are so many people on the day that come up to me saying, I feel safe because you're there. People know I go camping, and skydiving's coming up next, but waterfalls, Grand Canyons, and growing up, nobody told me I could do these things. So I do them now.
That's right.
So that way you don't have to see somebody up there receiving an award in a suit and tie. I got my chains out. Got my, well, this isn't my brand, but I'm at work. I could have changed it, but I realized I was a little bit late.
Right.
I thought it was 7:30, not 7. But yeah, so I went to that. And then I also went to the Lifeline Community Dinner, which is a once-a-month dinner held at sometimes different locations where people can come together and do music or poetry or talk about their feelings. It's a safe space. They provide food, held by Steve North, one of the longest open mics in Toledo. I believe it's 15 years. Also one of the people that helped bring in Same Cafe to the Lucas County Library, which is doing awesome. They just had their year anniversary, and a template for what is going on here in Toledo might be going around the world. So that's very important. I got to release what you guys heard last week, but the more and more I perform a piece, the better it becomes until it's memorized, which I'll be doing today to show you the difference of that. But yes, I have trust issues somewhere in the middle. So they liked it. It was good. I'll be doing that again. So that was some of the stuff that I did. Again, check my page. I try and post when I can because Hoodstock is also coming up. And again, like 52 events between now and August.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week coming up, and I know we're running short on time and I want to stop flicking the lights off on you. This week coming up this Thursday, if you do love poetry, if you do love open mics, Nicola and the Truth Art Gallery, hosted by Kay Renee, is doing, I think it's called Truth in Colors. This one is Something in Colors. Something in Colors has been a theme for this year. If you guys are going to begin to see all the flyers for Juneteenth in the summer, In Colors is, I think, this year's thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, if you want to go, I believe there might be still some tickets. They do not take door tickets. So go to Eventbrite, look up Truth in Colors or something like that. Look up the Truth Art Gallery or Keisha Renee, as we know her in Poet World, and see if you can come in. I'll be there. There'll be a whole bunch of features. That is Thursday. Doors open at 7. On Saturday, then I'll be at work again. So I won't be able to make that, but at the Switchboard, Joni McKentry is doing Uncloistered Poetry. So if you would like to be a part of that, that is a completely free event. I got to circle back. Kay's event is $10, $12.50 with the Eventbrite, because a lot of people are doing Eventbrite right now. So $12.50 with the Eventbrite, but still good. They feed you too. At Uncloistered, I'm not sure about the food because it is a different location. Lately, we've been holding it at the Attic. Shout out to Amelia. But this week, they're doing it at the Switchboard. And if you can't make it in person, I'll be there on Sunday for the online portion. So we all get to look like the, what was that game show? Community Squares, something Squares, Celebrity Squares.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares, that's what it is. Oh man, but so we can all look like the Hollywood Squares and have our little 15 seconds of fame and talk and everything. But I participated that in a couple times when I can't make the live. So Uncloistered Poetry is going to be a virtual one. They got features there at both, one on Saturday,
Yeah.
and then on Sunday. Sunday is for those that can't make it in person, and we see people from all over the world, which I love these platforms for. But yeah, that's the things coming up before. Hopefully, I'll be back in studio next week, but I'm not sure. And anything else, check my page. There are a lot, again, of events going on. I'm involved in 45, so probably triple that for the things going on in the city.
Oh, man.
If you want to know, it's not hard to find. Most of the events that are local, as I'm learning, you're not going to see in the paper. You're not going to type in something online. Go to your Facebook, click on events, because a lot of us are still building those empires and those networks and stuff like that. And we don't have time to make somebody pay a tax on something we still are just, making a reality. So if you want to know, I tell people, go to Facebook or go to your Instagram or go to whatever person you like in whatever genre, their page, and find out. Most people that are in this field of entertainment will at least have one flyer if we get them. We are not promoters. We are the entertainment. We are the people that are getting on stage or painting something or doing things that are healing our soul. So that said, check my page, check CSRN, check Hoodstock Foundation, because I'm going to start putting some more stuff up there as we get ready for that one, which is going to be at Wallbridge. And yeah, that's some things going on that I can remember, because also I'm here, so I don't really have my cheat sheet. I hope the show has been going well. I saw her. I've met her actually a couple of times at a few events at Change Academy and do some stuff. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see her. If you can make that march in July, that'd be awesome. And because he kind of spoiled it last week, Brother Washington, in a couple weeks, June 5th is going to be the first official book signing for Childhood Trauma Series. All of my book signings are going to be free. I'm not charging covers, but all of my book signings will be how my previous art gallery showcases were, where you will be able to see a live performer other than me and a live painter other than me. So I know the first one coming up, I have Nate Hicks and Darius Simpson booked. It's going to be at Paco's at the park. Come on. I may, as it gets closer, Brother Washington's going to help me out with the press release and all that good stuff. And then Paco's will piggyback off of that. I may have something here for y'all to eat, but really, it's Monday. It's not really required that you come in to get something to eat, just to get some good vibes, start your week off great. And then in July will be the second one. I've already booked CJ the violinist as part of that, maybe Jim, but we'll see. Got to work out dates and everything.
All right. Hey, listen, before we check out of here, I just want to let everyone know that if you want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, as well as Twitter. And if you want to support what we do, you can support us via Cash App. That's hashtag CSRN 419. And you can support us via PayPal, CSRN 419. And also, if you log on to CSRN on YouTube, click subscribe, click notification. And lastly, Jody, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this right now and a lot next week. This Thursday will be the 90th birth anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And it's not often that we have our freedom fighters with us for that amount of time. And I'm so glad that he's here. He's with us. So this Thursday, May 11th, will be the 90th year anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I want to say a little bit more about that next week. But we have a collector's edition of the Final Call newspaper. So try to find the brothers this weekend, either on the corner or at the barbershop. Check out Bobby Howard's, Yummy's, Powell's Beauty Supply, your community market, and some other places where you see the Final Call newspaper. Hey, look, Jody, I think that's about it for me. I didn't do our Nguzu Saba word today. Well, it is unity or umoja, and that means to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. So that's it for me, Jody. what are we doing for 5 minutes of heat today?
So for 5 minutes of heat, I'm going to do a piece that kind of sums up 5,382 poems over the last 8 years. It's the one that I actually practiced and stuff for about a week or two, and then I took it to Canada as a way to reopen what spoken truth is, because childhood traumas is a little bit different than that series, which took me forever to finally say, I'm putting my pen down, my brush down, and we're working on this next book series. So Just Stressed is that one, but I want to make y'all laugh kind of before we go and everything. I was talking to a friend, and Brother Washington, you're in that circle, because right now all my crewmates that's over there are the 2,000 babies.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that? Some of them wasn't even around when 9/11 happened. There's a whole group of adults that are now 23 and all that stuff that will look at you and say, you was born in the 1900s.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Everybody think about that. I might make a poem of it, but yeah, I was born in a whole nother century, and it's very interesting.
Absolutely. That's what's up.
So this piece, again, I hope you like it. Don't click the lights off on Brother Washington while we're reciting it and everything. And let's begin. Peace. Just Stressed. Comfortable again. I like my space here. I get to be the Kermit the Frog, Doctor Who, Cat in the Hat, Marcus Poppins, still waiting on Mary. Where's Waldo, Man in Black? Checking my watch like the White Rabbit as I smile, yes, smile like the Cheshire Cat. This Mad Hatter, white whale of a unicorn, riding my own rainbow, trying, yes, trying to find my own Neverland. No one can harm you if they don't know enough about you to make false statements that others might believe. Not waiting, yes, waiting for someone to catch me if I can, catch me if they can, because I am nobody's, yes, nobody's gingerbread man. But I'll dance, yes, I'll dance to the music inside my head, like the Pied Piper, moving down, yes, moving down my yellow brick road. And sometimes, yes, sometimes people come to dance. I'm just a guy, a simple man, warm and comforting like a bonfire. But if you get too close, I do burn. I am all consuming, and I do not have pity for those that try and put me out. I just want to provide warmth, a safe space for you to stay until another companion, yes, another companion comes along the way. Do not take me with you unless you plan on taking care of me too. And keep me fed with good stories as kindling with connections and boundaries provided by the connection between me and you. Yeah, that went left real quick. But that's usually how my brain works. If you have a conversation with me, that's normally what happens. But I'm so serious. That's the only type, yes, that's the only type of partner I'm looking for. Someone that can read between the jumbled lines and still care, yes, still care to reach me in the end. I paid attention to far too many fairy tales growing up. And I truly wish there was some quest or dragon, yes, dragon to fight to find the love of my life. Because trying to prove myself to all these damsels have only left me stressed. Just stressed. In peace.
All right, and as always, we don't clap our hands, we snap our fingers. Yes, sir, Jody. I'm so glad that you were able to check in today. And we did have an awesome podcast today with Aviance Hill and Les Robinson of Parents of Murdered Children. And brother, we look forward to seeing you next week. If we got to put you virtually, hey, it is what it is. If you're here, it is what it is. And as always,
background looks nice.
Yes, sir. And as always, all lives can't matter until what?
Black lives matter.
And black lives can't matter until
all black lives matter.
Just
yeah.